Hello and blessings, beautiful souls. I hope you're all doing well, and I just wanted to check in with you, dear diary style, and just to let you know how the Witchcraft Aesthetic project is going behind the scenes. So I have been receiving mixed messages and mixed emotions about this particular experiment, and I understand why people are feeling a little bit uncomfortable because this is me pretending or acting. And so I felt like it was necessary for me to come here and clarify a few things with you and to say that I am taking this project very seriously, and in fact, more about myself and my shadows are coming to the surface as I conduct this little experiment. Now, for those who didn't know this, in my late teens and early 20s, my primary profession and the way that I cultivated my income was as a model, a catwalk runway model, and I did promotional work and photographic work and catwalk work as a model, and I got paid, and that's how I, supported myself and sustained myself. And so a lot of my life was about dressing up and grooming myself and having, the perfect color brown hair, not a tinge of green because I'd somehow colored over incorrectly my blonde hair and that's left a greeny tinge instead of, going through there and adding a brassy tone and then creating the perfect brown. And so I was constantly at the hairdresser, I was constantly in the makeup chair, I was constantly exercising at an all-women's gym. I was constantly doing these things to better improve my physical self, and then I gave up. I quit. I got a little bit leveled over it. I was sought after at one point, and I had contracts presented to me, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't like the people that I worked with, and I thought that they were very shallow and very superficial and that their focus was in the wrong place. Now, I was a witch model, as a model. Underneath my modeling persona, I was still a witch. And I felt that there was something fundamentally lacking in that industry that did not nourish my soul, and that was a call that I myself made. And so stepping in here and remembering how to do my makeup for starters, and remembering, what to use to draw glyphs on my face, it's starting to bring some stuff up for me. And with that said, some of it is positive and some of it is negative. And then there is the aspect of how utterly exhausted I felt afterwards, and how much that made me think that, wow, I kind of gave up a little bit. I went too far in rebelling against, popular culture's image of a woman and the whole modeling industry and the whole fashion industry and the fast fashion industry and all of these things, and becoming a mom, and that I felt like I'd actually given up. And it wasn't until I started doing all of this and then talking about it to my best friend, I'm like, fuck, you know what it feels like? Like I've given up. I don't put makeup on my face as often as I used to. And makeup is something that, is not necessary for everybody, but I do love it. I love makeup. I actually love having my nails sheer glow on my face. I love walking outside and looking beautiful, and yet I very rarely do it because I'm like, ugh. And I feel like I'm constantly like, ugh, at times. And it's like I lost my sexy when I became a mother, and all the motherly responsibility, all the nappy changes, all the times I've got spewed on, all the times I've had to deal with, my baby's poo and all the things that you have to do as a mother, which are very unglamorous. I felt like I'd lost my sexy. And so I had to dig deep. I had to dig deep for Lola, Mistress of the Night. By the way, Lola, Mistress of the Night, in case I haven't explained this, and I'm sure that I have, is my 20s drunk alter ego who was a saucy minx. And I had to dig deep, and the archetype that came up was Lola. And so Lola's out to play at the moment. And I've got to say, it was really liberating. And so one thing that I will say about the aesthetic is that some of that aesthetic is about self-expression. It is about a desire to express themselves openly. That is something that I am now coming to understand more. How uncomfortable it can be. I mustn't be the only person that is uncomfortable, getting out there and moving in such a way and painting my face. This is a declaration of open expression. And so I'm not at all knocking those people who are legitimately there doing their thing. I'm knocking the fact that the witch aesthetic is more about the look. There are those, and a vast population of those that are just on the aesthetic. There is no practice. There is no understanding of the craft. It's simply witch as a hashtag, witches of Instagram as a hashtag. It's, you know, dressing up goth and, you know, the doing of the things, just the look. There is no practice behind that. And then I found a genre of witches who are the aesthetic and are embodying their witchcraft beautifully. And to those people, I take my hat off, because it is uncomfortable trying to put yourself out there. In a time where I used to dress up 5 days a week, and I used to put all the makeup on my face, and I used to be into the fashion. I had to buy something new every week, because I clubbed a lot and I didn't want to ever be seen as an outfit repeater, like heaven forbid. It was a really shallow and confusing time in my life, but it was also an experience that I look back on now, and it actually does serve a purpose. It serves to highlight how an industry can be and how far removed from reality you can become because you're swept up in the commercialism of it all. And that's what I feel most powerfully about the witch aesthetic, is that it's all a commercial thing. And when I started this whole project, I didn't know that Sephora was doing a witch kit. And then Sephora was doing a witch kit. And then there was a big uproar about Sephora doing a witch kit. And suddenly the witch aesthetic was being talked about, you know, simultaneously. I'm doing my thing. And I'm like, fuck, this is on people's radar right now. And then Sephora pulls their witch kit, you know, stating that they didn't want to upset anyone, etc., blah, blah, blah. And then a few points of view were brought to the forefront. And I was discussing this with some of my old coven sisters. And the question was, what if you are a makeup artist and a witch? What if your profession is a makeup artist and you are a legit witch? And what if your dream is to create a makeup line, or to create some kind of symbionts between makeup and witchcraft? And what if that is a thing for you? And what if you were in that position and you put forth that idea and that idea was squashed? Like, I feel sad for the individual if that was the case. I genuinely feel sad. But I can understand on the opposite side why people would get so upset about it, and why it became more of a commercial capitalist type of thing, and how it was an exploitation of a person's genuine faith, especially because Sephora is such a huge brand that by selling these witch kits, and even if they did so and then started building on that, they would squash every independent apothecary, witchcraft store, pagan store, all of those beautiful witches who have had a dream of creating an outlet for their craft and sharing that craft with other people. For me, it's about the small business. For me, it's about the individual. It's not about business at all, but it's about the small business, if it's about any kind of business. But it's about the individual, the teachers, you know, the makers, the creators, the witches who are sharing aspects of their craft, who are teaching others about their craft, who are helping and supporting and contributing to the greater pool of collective knowledge for witchcraft. That's what it's about for me personally. And so I'm still going strong. I'm going strong. I'm going to be doing some farm vlogs, and I'm here being very honest with you right now, and I just want you to know that my my usual personality isn't going to disappear altogether, but I am finding fragments of myself that I used to really love and that I had forgotten about because I have become disconnected from a phase of my life. You could say that it was the maiden phase, and I'm now strictly in the mother phase, and for some reason I lost my sexy. Now when I look at it, if anyone should be ultra sexy, it is the mum, the fertile, creative mum. And I look at this now and I see this disconnect, and I must wonder if this is the cause of some of my past discontent. Is feeling very unsexy, feeling very feeling meh about my femininity and how I express myself. And I used to joke around because my best friend, she is beautiful, like she's always got her bangs on point and she's always dressing up, and she's like, come on, you need to get rid of your mummy frump, let's go do things. And she was a great influence on me. My sister, prior to her having her little bubba, who's now 5 months old, she was hella into she was hella witch, yes, but she was really into makeup, and she would tell me all the good makeup, the hot makeup, and then encourage me to do this and that and that, and I appreciated these influences, because for the first time in my life I was in the position where I needed zhuzhing, I needed a makeover, and I didn't even realize that that was a thing. And I didn't realize that I'd lost my sexy. I didn't realize that I'd lost that sex appeal. I didn't realize that I had stopped expressing myself sensually. And there is something so fundamentally wrong with that. My husband is an amazing guy, and I think that he would really appreciate it if I expressed myself more sexy, more sensually, you know, and I think that it would be an act of self-love for myself, and I hate saying the words self-love together, but an act of self-love towards myself, to, you know, I think it would be to nurture that, to nurture this understanding of a disconnect, and to step more into that sexy archetype, to put my red lipstick on, to do my makeup, to dress in a manner that I feel like if somebody walked into my house, for instance, I wouldn't be like, I'll give you an example. I'm sitting in my pajamas, as I often do, because I work from home, and it's very easy to turn into a sloth when you work from home. And I'm typing away, and I'm still in my pajamas, and it's 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I'm like still in my pajamas, acutely aware, but actually not caring. And then my dad comes in, and he's dressed. My 70-year-old dad managed to get himself dressed. My friend who was up visiting for the time of the funeral, she was down, she was dressed. Everybody else managed to get dressed. And then a water tank was being delivered, and I walked to the front door in my daggy jammies to greet the guy, and I thought to myself, this is rock bottom. This is rock bottom. This is rock bottom. And I don't like it. I don't like how I felt like, I need to, you know, he literally arrived. I spoke 5 words to him. I said, Dad, can you just look after this? And I had to go and get dressed. And I felt so uncomfortable. And I'm thinking to myself, since when are you this person? Like, why are you this person? How did this person come about? Let's have a little talk about this, honey, because this is not okay. And then the Witch Aesthetic project came in, and I started to really notice that there was such a lack of crone energy, beautiful, sexy crone energy, the silver hair, the aged woman. And as I teeter towards my 40s, and I'm starting to get older and older, and I think to myself, I've lost my sexy. I'm apparently a sloth. And I wonder if, when I reach my crone years, if there will be any respect for the crone in the craft at that time. Especially after I've cultivated such a vast legacy of experience. And I'm not the only person in that position, mind you. I speak of myself, yes, but I know that there are people in parallel, positions to me. There are people who are aging as well. There are people who are cultivating their craft. There are people who are probably wondering the same fucking thing that I'm wondering. I don't see the sexy crone anymore, and that breaks my heart. I see the young aesthetic, and that to me feels Victoria's Secret, and it feels like an exploitation of youth as well. These are bold things to say, but I think that at the same time, if I'm choosing to be there on social media, if I'm choosing to be here on YouTube and to talk to you in a particular way, then I'm technically somewhere in the vicinity of the entertainment industry. And as we know, the entertainment industry is quite shallow. So those who are willing to play the game of aesthetics are going to succeed. They are going to succeed. So let's just see how this experiment goes, and how this will transform me as a person, and what kind of shadows I'm going to find, and also what kind of, revelations I'm going to find. And I just wanted to say as well that I'm not looking to take the piss on anybody. I'm not making fun of a single individual. I'm simply experimenting with the energy that is available to me. I see something and I have to know. I'm a one. I care about truth, apparently. When we do my human design profile, I am specifically motivated by truth. And that puts me in a very hungry, ambitious state of mind. Truth is my driving force. It may not be the most positive force, but it is my driving force. And it's also one of the aspects of my personality that people find very confronting, is that I will always speak my truth to an individual, no matter how that will affect their feelings. And so I can come across as very obtuse at times, but I have also noticed that the people that are right for me can handle my truth, can tell me to fuck off when I need to. And also, they will always know where they stand with me, and that's transparency for me. I like to know where I'm going to stand with another person, where I'm standing with another individual. I don't want to take the piss. I nurture my relationships. I feel very connected, very deeply passionate about the people that I do nurture in my life, and I give them my absolute best. I give them my truth, I give them my laughter, I give them my shoulder to cry on. And truth is very important to me, but it's not a popular subject either. To be the person that always tells the truth is a shitty position to be in. And I can't tell you how many times I've had people come close to spitting in my face because they've asked me a question and I've given them the most brutal of truth, because I think I don't fuck around. I don't fuck around. And it's a virtue for me, but it's also a hindrance. And my dad and I often have these conversations about how I can be a bit blunt. It's all in my delivery. And then I think of my influences. There's a little red robin on my fence. I think of my influences, right? And I've got a runny nose. And my mother is a criminal attorney. She's a pit bull. She's notorious. People know her in Rio. Like, they really know her style and her tenacity and her confronting aspects. And I have a little bit of that in me. And so my delivery is off. But when it comes to truth and wanting to know the truth, I'll go through pretty extraordinary means to get there. And this witchcraft experiment is about knowing the truth for me. It doesn't have to be about knowing the truth for everybody, but I need to know the truth for me. Is it really all about aesthetics? Are people becoming more shallow in their craft? Is it shallow witchcraft time? Piss week witchcraft? Is this what we're going for? You know, we're doing this book club, right? And I'm reading The Green Witch, and I can't help but think really terrible things about that book. And I have been talking to a girlfriend of mine who I can be very open with. And if I said some of the things that I genuinely think about this book, people would be like, oh! So I have to choose my audience carefully. Do I like that book? Fuck no, I don't. And do I have more to say on that subject? Fuck yes, I do. And if you want to hear my absolute honest opinion, then please ask and I will tell you. But if you don't want to be offended and you don't want to know, then don't ask me, because then I won't tell you. And it keeps everyone happy. This witchcraft project is a freaking revelation and a work of shadow at the moment. And just as we know, it's in alignment with Kellyanne Maddox's Self-Love September, so fuck me, right? Anyways, wishing you so much love, luck, peace and joy. I'm going to be checking in with you again soon, give you some up-to-date, some behind-the-scenes stuff, and let you know how I'm going. I've got a head cold, by the way, because apparently I just got over pneumonia to get a head cold. It's the thing that's going around too. Anyway, guys, I'm wishing you so much love. I'll talk to you soon. See ya!